Okay, so you're trying to stay informed, yeah.
That sounds
Cut through all the noise online.
Right. It's a lot these days.
Well, this week, something definitely popped up that's worth digging into. The hack of 4chan.
Exactly. And we've been looking into it. For this deep dive, we're mainly drawing from a pretty detailed report by TechCrunch.
Good source.
Yeah. And our mission here is basically to unpack it, what went down, what info got out, and frankly, why this hack of a place like 4chan actually matters.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So for anyone who maybe isn't super familiar with 4chan, let's set the scene a bit. It's not your typical forum.
Not at all.
Think of this huge, sprawling image board,
Yeah.
right? And it's built around this idea of being anonymous, or supposedly anonymous.
Ostensibly, yeah.
It's where a ton of viral memes came from, like Pepe the Frog, the Rage comics, Wojaks 2.
Oh, yeah. Those are everywhere now.
But, and this is the crucial part, it's also become this really significant and kind of troubling hub for some political stuff, linked to alt-right movements. And its name has even come up in connection with, horrific real-world events like the Christchurch mosque shooting, the Buffalo grocery store shooting.
That's a really critical point to understand. It has this weird dual nature, silly internet jokes right next to some incredibly dark, serious ideologies.
Exactly. So when news broke that it got hacked, it wasn't just like a normal Tuesday tech story.
No, far from it. The TechCrunch report says this all went down Tuesday, April 15th, 2025.
And it wasn't subtle, I take it. The first signs were pretty obvious.
Yeah, pretty disruptive. The site itself was just down or loading really sporadically. You couldn't really use it properly.
Okay, so people noticed.
Oh, definitely. And interestingly, there were apparently celebrations popping up on rival message boards.
Really?
Yeah, TechCrunch mentioned this claim going around that the hacker or hackers might have actually been inside 4chan's system for, get this, over a year.
Over a year? Wow, that's
Yeah.
deep access if it's true.
It really is. Suggests a major long-term breach.
So, okay, if they were potentially in there for that long, what actually got out? What kind of data are we talking about here?
Well, based on the screenshots that started circulating pretty quickly online, it seems like quite a lot.
Like what?
Things like the alleged backend of the site itself, the inner workings, the actual source code that makes 4chan run, and even templates that moderators use when they ban users.
Wait, ban templates so you could see, like the pre-written reasons they give out.
Seems like it. Gives you a peek behind the moderation curtain, sort of.
Huh. Interesting. What else?
And beyond that, the leak reportedly spilled a list identifying alleged 4chan moderators and also people they called janitors.
Moderators and janitors. Is there a difference?
Yeah, there's a key distinction. Janitors mostly just delete posts and threads, trying to clean things up a bit.
Right.
But moderators have more power. Crucially, they can apparently see user IP addresses.
Okay. And that really undermines the whole anonymity thing that 4chan is supposedly built on.
Exactly. It's core to its identity.
So we're talking about potentially exposing the people running this massive, often chaotic place.
Yeah.
But, how reliable is this? Could it just be faked screenshots?
That's the big question, right? And TechCrunch actually managed to talk to a current 4chan janitor. Anonymously, of course.
Okay, what do they say?
Well, this person told TechCrunch they felt confident. The leaked stuff, the data, the screenshots, it's all real. They said they had no reason to believe otherwise.
Wow. That's pretty strong confirmation from an insider.
It really is. It suggests this wasn't some minor data slip.
So bigger than past incidents.
That's what the janitor implied. They mentioned 4chan has had leaks before, but this one was of a greater magnitude. And they also brought up the whole doxing issue, which is, already a risk on 4chan itself. This hack basically turns the tables and ramps up the risk for the people actually working for the site.
Right, the irony. The people trying to enforce some rules, however loose, on a platform known for breaking them, are now potentially facing exposure themselves.
Exactly. It's a stark situation.
So, okay, the screenshots are one thing, but what did this janitor think was the biggest issue here?
Interestingly, they suggested that the fact the site was, in their words, effectively taken over by a hacker might actually be a bigger, more fundamental problem for 4chan's operation than just the screenshots getting out.
So the control aspect, the breach itself being so deep.
Yeah, it points to a really severe security failure at its core.
Okay. Now, what about the regular users? You mentioned paying users earlier, the 4chan Pass thing. Were they caught up in this?
Yes. According to that same janitor TechCrunch spoke with, the hacker apparently did get personal information belonging to those 4chan Pass subscribers.
And those are people paying for perks, right?
Yeah.
Like posting faster.
Yeah, bypassing post limits, getting access to a special VIP board, stuff like that. So people who paid for a slightly different, maybe slightly less anonymous experience, their details might now be out there.
Okay, so we've got the timing, the data, the confirmation. Let's zoom out a bit. Why is this bigger than just a story about one website getting hacked? What are the broader implications?
Well, this ties right back into 4chan's unique and often really problematic place online. TechCrunch specifically mentions the platform's known violent political ties.
Right.
And this hack potentially could expose individuals who run forums that have become these central hubs for alt-right movements and ideologies.
So unmasking key figures.
Potentially. And when you remember 4chan's documented role in spreading hateful stuff and its connection to real-world violence, those shootings in Christchurch and Buffalo are just such grim example.
Yeah, impossible to ignore.
Then the idea of exposing the people running those specific forum sections, well, that could have really significant consequences. We don't even know what yet.
It's that uncomfortable reality, isn't it? 4chan isn't just, rage comics. It's also been this incubator and megaphone for some truly toxic views.
Mm-hmm.
And that anonymity shield has protected a lot of the people pushing that content. So puncturing that shield, that feels significant.
Absolutely. The article calls it an ostensibly anonymous internet forum, and pretty bluntly, the dark underbelly of the web.
Which feels accurate, unfortunately.
And it's that contrast, right? The place that gives us silly, harmless memes also generates stuff that's deeply harmful and radicalizing. That's why this breach, potentially identifying key figures in those extremist parts, is so notable.
It really brings up questions of accountability, doesn't it? If people who were anonymous might now be identifiable, what does that mean for those online spaces, for the ideologies they promote?
Big question.
Did 4chan itself say anything? Did they respond to TechCrunch?
Nope. According to the report, TechCrunch reached out to their press email but got no response. Silence.
Which, given the scale of this, is maybe telling in itself.
You could certainly read it that way.
Okay, so let's try to sum this up. We had a major hack of 4chan around April 15th, 2025. Internal data got leaked. Source code, back-end stuff, potentially lists of moderators and janitors.
And personal info from paying Pass's subscribers, too, it seems.
And we have insider confirmation suggesting this leak is legit and significant.
Mm-hmm. Greater magnitude than previous ones, according to the janitor source.
But maybe more importantly, this whole thing just throws this harsh light on the risks tied to platforms built on near-total anonymity. Especially platforms with those known links to extremism and real-world violence.
Exactly. It forces us to look at these complex issues. Online anonymity, how harmful content spreads, and, who, if anyone, is accountable in these digital spaces. It's messy.
It really is. And that kind of leads us to the final thought for everyone listening. Considering 4chan's influence, which is undeniable, even if it's often controversial, affecting both internet culture and real-world events, what are the wider implications when a platform like this has its security breached so badly? What does it mean for online anonymity going forward? And what about the responsibilities of the people who run these huge, influential platforms?
Yeah.
This event really makes you think hard about that balance, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Between free speech, the protection anonymity can offer, and the very real potential for harm online. It's definitely something to mull over.